Imagine the immense gravitational pull of Jupiter dragging all nearby planets into a catastrophic collision. The largest planet in our solar system, Jupiter, already holds considerable sway over the motions of many objects. But what if its gravity were somehow strong enough to pull the nearby planets, like Mars, Earth, and Venus, into a deadly cosmic smash-up? This scenario would be devastating, changing our solar system in unimaginable ways. Let's break down what would happen step by step. The power of Jupiter's gravity. To understand how Jupiter's gravity could pull the planets together, it's important to first grasp just how strong its gravitational field is. Jupiter is over 318 times more massive than Earth, which gives it a gravitational pull far stronger than that of any other planet in the solar system. Jupiter's gravity already influences the orbits of many nearby objects. It controls the movement of hundreds of moons, keeps the asteroid belt in check, and prevents asteroids from crashing into the inner planets, including Earth. But in this thought experiment, we are imagining that Jupiter's gravitational pull somehow becomes strong enough to reach and influence the orbits of planets like Mars, Earth, and Venus. Currently, Jupiter is about 550 million kilometers, or 340 million miles, from Earth at its closest. This distance keeps us safe from its overwhelming gravity. But what if that distance shrank? What if Jupiter moved closer to the inner solar system, or its gravitational force extended far beyond its current reach, pulling the inner planets in? For this hypothetical scenario, let's imagine that Jupiter's gravitational influence grows so large that it starts pulling nearby planets, particularly those in the inner solar system, Mars, Earth, and Venus, toward it. In reality, this is highly unlikely, as Jupiter would need an enormous increase in mass or proximity to significantly affect these planets. However, let's suspend disbelief and assume it happens. The first sign of disaster would be the disruption of the planet's orbits. Right now, the planets in our solar system follow stable paths around the Sun. Each planet moves in an elliptical orbit, maintaining a delicate balance between the Sun's gravitational pull and its own momentum. If Jupiter's gravity became strong enough to pull on these planets, it would disrupt this balance. Instead of orbiting the Sun in smooth, predictable patterns, the planets would start veering off course, slowly but surely spiraling toward Jupiter. Chaos in the solar system. As Jupiter's gravity pulls the inner planets closer, chaos would erupt across the solar system. The orbits of Mars, Earth, and Venus would no longer be stable. They would start colliding with asteroids, comets, and possibly even moons that were previously held in place by Jupiter's own gravitational pull. This would be a cosmic game of pinball, with planets and debris bouncing around in space, crashing into each other, and causing massive destruction. The first major collision might occur between Mars and Earth, as they are relatively close to each other in space. A collision of this magnitude would be apocalyptic. Mars is about half the size of Earth, but the impact would release an unimaginable amount of energy, far greater than any natural disaster we've ever experienced. The collision would likely destroy both planets, sending huge chunks of debris flying into space. These chunks could then crash into other planets, moons, or the Sun itself, causing a domino effect of destruction throughout the solar system. If Earth and Mars collide, the shockwave from the impact could be so powerful that it would send fragments of the planets hurtling across the solar system. Some of this debris might even reach Jupiter, where it could be swallowed up by the giant planet's immense gravity. Other debris might be scattered throughout the solar system, potentially forming new asteroid belts or crashing into other planets. What happens to Earth? For us, Earth, the immediate effects would be catastrophic. As our planet spirals toward Jupiter, we would experience violent changes in climate, weather, and geography. The gravitational pull from Jupiter would wreak havoc on Earth's tides, triggering massive earthquakes and volcanic eruptions across the globe. The atmosphere would be disrupted, leading to unpredictable and extreme weather patterns. Massive hurricanes, tornadoes, and even tsunamis would become commonplace. As the planets draw nearer to each other, the sky would darken, and we might see Mars and Venus growing ever larger as they come closer to collision. The temperatures on Earth would fluctuate wildly as the planet's orbit around the Sun becomes more erratic. We could experience extreme heat waves as we draw closer to the sun, followed by freezing conditions as we move further away. Eventually, as Earth gets closer to Jupiter, the gravitational forces would become too strong for our planet to withstand. Earth would likely be torn apart by tidal forces before it even collided with another planet. In the final moments before destruction, Earth's atmosphere would be stripped away, and the planet's surface would be crushed and ripped apart by the immense gravitational pull. The final collision. If Earth somehow survived long enough to collide with Jupiter, the impact would be monumental. Jupiter is made mostly of gas, so Earth would not hit a solid surface, but instead plunge into Jupiter's thick atmosphere. As Earth descended into Jupiter's atmosphere, it would be torn apart by the intense pressure and heat. The planet would be vaporized long before it reached Jupiter's core. Meanwhile, the other planets being pulled in by Jupiter's gravity would face similar fates. Venus, the second planet closest to the Sun, would likely collide with Earth or Mars before reaching Jupiter. If it survived the journey, Venus would be torn apart by the same tidal forces that destroyed Earth. The aftermath. Once all the nearby planets had been destroyed or absorbed by Jupiter, the solar system would look very different. Jupiter would be even more massive than before, having absorbed the material from the destroyed planets. This increase in mass could cause Jupiter to become a failed star. Jupiter is already composed mostly of hydrogen and helium, the same elements that make up stars. With enough mass, it could potentially ignite nuclear fusion and become a small star. However, even with the additional mass of the inner planets, Jupiter would likely still fall short of the mass required for this transformation. The Sun would continue to shine, but the inner solar system would be a graveyard of debris. Without Earth, Mars, and Venus, the remaining planets, like Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, would continue orbiting the Sun, but the solar system would be forever changed. The asteroid belts might become more unstable, with debris from the destroyed planets contributing to the formation of new asteroids and possibly even new moons around Jupiter. In this terrifying scenario, Jupiter's gravity pulling nearby planets into a deadly collision would result in the total destruction of the inner solar system as we know it. Earth, along with Mars and Venus, would be torn apart by tidal forces or smashed into pieces by violent impacts. The solar system would be left in chaos, with only the outer planets remaining intact, orbiting a sun that now presides over a cosmic wasteland. While this scenario is purely hypothetical, it serves as a reminder of the immense power of gravity and the fragile balance that keeps our solar system in harmony.